Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes. There is a link to my online store listed below. There's all the dimensions and all the product I used. There's a link to our Facebook group, my email address, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe to YouTube and help me grow in YouTube world. Whale watching. Now, many of you may have not seen this set yet because it's coming out in the annual mini catalog, September to December. Yeah, the Christmas catalog. There's a whale watching set. And it's a standalone stamp. There's no dies or anything. It is just a wonderful stamp set. And I'm going to show you what I made with it so far. I'm sure I'm going to play with it a lot more because I love anything to do with the ocean and the animals and stuff around the ocean. So I thought I'd show you this one first. I did get my order in, and so I'm going to be previewing all new product over the next few weeks. And this will be available on September 6th when you can first order. Unless you want to get a pre-order in and become a demonstrator, then you can join my team and you can put this in your starter kit. If you're interested in doing that, drop me an email real quick and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So let me show you what we're going to make. We are going to make this beautiful card. The whales are under the starry skies and just having a jolly old time, leaping out of the water. And then we have a little thing. And all it says is, hello there. I left this. You could use this for birthday. You could substitute a birthday saying. You could substitute anything you wanted for this. It could even be a sympathy card. It could be anything you wanted. So let me show you how I made this. And I don't know if you can see how sparkly this card is. You can see it really on the blue here. It's quite sparkly. So I'll show you that. Now, I guess I should show you the envelope too. We even have a cute little Shamu envelope. I call orcas. These are orcas, killer whales. I call them Shamus. If anybody's been to years ago, at SeaWorld down in San Diego, they had a killer whale and his name was Shamu. So that's why I call them Shamus. But they are orcas or killer whales. And if you're anywhere familiar with the Pacific Northwest, we have them off the coast all of the time. They're in Puget Sound up in Seattle, and it's not uncommon to see a killer whale. So let's get started. Now my story is about killer whales. We're going to use a few stamps out of this. There is no sayings in this set, so I pulled in a couple other sets. So we're using all three of the whales. We're going to use this wave and this wave here. We are not using the sky, the moon, or the land today, but I'm sure I will soon. So we're going to go from there. So it's called whale watching. I'm pulling in Oceanfront, which we used last week, because I want the water. And I want the texture from this water to add to my texture that I'm going to get from this stamp here. So we're pulling in Oceanfront. Once again, no sayings. Then I pulled in Nature's Print. And I pulled in Hello There. We are also going to use a die from here. We're going to use this die from this set. And we are going to be using the Stylish Shapes. We are going to use the second one from the smallest to put our sentiment in. So we'll get all of that in a little bit. So let me get these out of my way real fast. And I will show you all of the materials we need. First, you need a piece of card. This is Blueberry Bushel. Excuse me. It is 8.5 by 7. And I'm going to show you how to score and cut this. And then the pieces we need. We need some scrap white, some scrap Blueberry Bushel, which I've thrown over in a pile. Of course, we need our envelope. You need one piece of white that is 4 by 5 3/8. You need a piece of basic white that is 4 1/8 by 1 3/8. And you need two pieces that are 2 by 1 3/8. And then the DSP. Now I am using the Stargazing DSP. we have beautiful new DSP that has stars and stuff, but the Stargazing one just sort of hit me, excuse me, that it was really quite beautiful. So you need 2 pieces that are 2 by 5 3/8, and I've cut these in a fashion so they lay out. And then the third piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that is the pieces we need. And then, like I said, scrap of white and Blueberry Bushel. So let's move on with the card. I'll get things out of here. I think we're going to start with our card base. You're going to have to excuse me. I do have a very raspy throat. We've been experiencing heat wave. I'm filming this the Friday before you see it, but all this week our temperatures have been Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, we were 108, then we were 105, 104, something like that. It's been extremely hot, and I've been sleeping under fans, and you know what happens when you do that. So on the 8.5 inch side, oh, you know, I can't see a thing. Wait a minute, I forgot my glasses again. I'm fine until I go to read numbers. So on the 8.5 inch side, we are going to score at 2 1/8. Get the cutting blade out of the way. And 4 1/4. Then on the 7 inch side, we're going to turn it and we're going to cut off 1 1/2. So there is the 2 pieces for our card base that we need. Grab my bone folder here. I know I grabbed it a little while ago. So fold 1 down and 1 back. And this is going to be the same way on this one. 1 down, 1 back. And then what we do, these were this way. All you do is flip it over, turn it around, and there is your Z fold. Just like that, okay? So it's now time, before we can put any of the rest of this together, we have to do some stamping and some cutting. So let's do the back of the card and the envelope first, because we're going to stamp those exactly the same way. And that is going to be with that cute little killer whale and the wave right here. And we are going to, excuse me, for the water, we're going to use Tahitian Tide. And I did forget to grab my Memento. Just one moment. There it is. So make sure your waves are going the right direction. Make sure your envelope's going the right direction. And it doesn't matter which side you put it on. I'm going to put mine on this side. So that's that wave. And then Memento. Ink up. Make sure you got a good coat of ink on him. Put him right into the waves. Give him a nice firm push. Come straight up. And there he goes. All pretty. And same on this one. There's that one. So that's the back of our card. So we do need to stamp some whales. So why don't we go ahead and do that now? I'm going to grab this nice big piece here, and we need to stamp the large whale and the medium whale because we're going to be fussy cutting those out, and they are easy to fussy cut out. And making sure, sometimes you gotta make sure you got a good coat on this, and then press firmly. Don't do it quickly. Let it absorb in so you get a nice black killer whale. And then there's this one here. Oh, not good. Matter of fact, I'm going to take the black to my killer whale because he's bigger. And I want to make sure I've got a nice, good coverage on him. And we'll pop him in right here. He looks pretty good. Okay, so we'll let those sit for a few minutes before we cut them out. We do need to stamp our hello there, and we are going to stamp that in Tahitian Tide. So let's put him over in this corner. But I'm going to leave enough room because we're going to die cut him. Just like that. And next is, we'll let those all sit for a few minutes. Next is our little pieces of white. These are the little 1 3/8 inch tall pieces. Okay, you will need a piece of scratch paper. And I did have a piece of scratch paper here, but it's grown legs. So I'll just grab a piece from up here. You definitely want the scratch paper. Oh, I know why I didn't need scratch paper. Take me out. It's early in the morning. I mean, it is early because it's supposed to be warm again today. So this is a photopolymer, so we do need the mat. And we talked about this stamp the other day. The flat piece, this one, the flat side, that's the top and the bottom is down below. And it does make a little bit of difference in the shading. When you start with Tahitian Tide, and it doesn't matter where you start at, but I'm going to start off, just off the page on this one side at the top. Like that. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm sort of overlap it just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is come back in at an angle and just get that little piece there so there's not quite so much white, and just a little touch right there. And then we'll come back to that in just a minute. Now we need to do the other two pieces. When I was looking at making water for this, and then I wanted to use the other stamp out of the whaling set, and then I thought, I need a background. And this one popped in my head as being a great background for water because it is supposed to represent water. And so I like that. Pretty simple. Then we're going to come in, and I know which way is my bottom, like that. And you can leave it on the mat. It doesn't matter. These are not photopolymer. Now when you look at this, you can tell what is the top. If you look at it really carefully, you can tell what's the top and bottom. This is the top. Look like mountains. If you turn it this way, the waves all look like they're going underneath the water. It doesn't work. It's this way. So they look, when you look at it, it should look like two mountains over here, and that's the way the water should go. If you put it the other way, I don't think anybody's going to really mind, but waves usually swell upwards, not down. So put that, and we're just going to sort of start off on one side here. And I'm going to just sort of go back and forth at different heights. Some off the paper, some on the paper. Just adding my waves, like that. This one's a lot easier because it's smaller, but I still want to offset them. I like that. And one more. They don't have to be straight either. The ocean water is not straight. Trust me, it is not. Okay, so that is all of our stamping for the moment. So I'm going to get my snips out here. I know I don't usually make you watch me fussy cut. I'm going to just cut this little piece off here. because we're going to die cut him in a minute. And the reason I wanted to wait a minute in between cutting these is sometimes the Memento just takes a second to dry. And not long, you know, I mean like less than a minute, but I like to make sure my ink is thoroughly dry before I start sticking my fingers in it to fussy cut. I'm sorry, I need a sip of tea. And I am not the world's fastest fussy cutter, but I do get the job done. And I believe in cutting off the extra, so I'm not having to fight with it. And down here. And sort of around the waves here. So we're going to add some color to these waves. I'm just sort of going up and down, squiggling with the lines. I know watching someone fussy cut is lots of fun. Normally I would do this, but I just did not have time, and it was getting so warm last night, or when I designed this one, it was 108 when I designed this one. I do remember that. And unfortunately our house does not stay very cool. It's an older house. We have some portable air conditioners, but even at that, we were finally up to 88 degrees in the house by the end of the day. So it was hot. So that's one fussy cut. And this one is just as easy. Like I said, I'm not a speed cutter. And leaving just a small little border around it as best I can. I keep on pulling it towards myself because that's what I do when I'm fussy cutting. I usually pull it towards me instead of away from me. Yeah, we're almost there. Sometimes you just need to get rid of some of the big bulk. Just helps me anyhow. And that's our second little killer whale. Like I said, it didn't take but a few minutes. So we have all of our pieces now. We need to do some die cutting really fast before we can assemble our card. So get a little cranky out here. Get some plates for little cranky. And this, like I said, this is just it's literally torn piece of Blueberry Bushel. And we're going to die cut. This is the frame for Nature's Print from Nature's Prints. We're going to cut that out. I think this is the last of the pieces, then we can assemble the card. That gives us a really nice frame. And then this is the second die in from the Stylish Shapes. So it's about 1 1/4 across. And I need a Post-it or something to hold that in place. Like I said, you could use any sentiment you wanted on this. I wanted to keep it rather generic today. Something I could use as a thank you card, a birthday card, a sympathy card, whatever I wanted it for. Okay. And there's that piece all cut out. Very nice. So let's get little Cranky out of the way. Excuse me one moment. Oh, Fan City. So, okay. Bear with me one second. Get something to drink. I looked at this because I'm going to mount this in the center of this. And as you can see, it goes rather nicely in the center. But it was just still was too stark of white for me. So I'm going to grab some Tahitian Tide and a little finger dauber. And I'm just going to just flick on so it's like a shadow going, oop, not dropping it. Just flicking on a little bit more Tahitian Tide so it's not, and going in a little bit so it's, you know, like fog on the Tahitian Tide. So it's just not so stark white. So while we've got this here, we might as well glue it on first. And then we'll just continue on with the other pieces as we come to them. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I think we're stuck with this cough and stuff from the fans. And as you can see, the wind here, the wind is blowing. Today's Friday. What is it? I don't even know what date it is, but it is Friday. It's the Friday before you're seeing it. And it is supposed to be about 82 today, which is much nicer. So, first what we need to do is put our beautiful paper on. Not that, this. Like I said, I laid it out, cut it in order. And we're going to go ahead and glue that on. Yeah, once we get all the pieces made, the assembly of this card is very simple. And we have rather small borders on this one. Yeah, this Stargazing paper is very beautiful. I didn't buy the whole set. All I bought was the paper because I really liked the paper. I liked the stars, looking at the stars and stuff. I thought it was very pretty. Now this piece, which is going to go on this direction, so like I said, the 4.5 inch side is going this way now. I'm going to lay it out the right direction, and we're going to glue on our homemade DSP pieces, if you want to call them that. Pieces we made for our C. You can make this in one long strip and then, you know, cut it. It's up to you. And we use that one on this one. That would be fine too. And your water would all continue. Almost looks like it does from this point, even though I did it separately. Okay. Now this gets hooked on here. I find the easiest way is fold this up the way you're supposed to. So this is the front, this is the back piece. We're gonna mount this back corner. So just put glue on this back piece. Nowhere else, just the one back piece. Put it right in the corner. I'm going to lift this up and make sure that I'm right in the corner here. Give it a good press, make sure that everybody's straight, and make sure this is all still straight. And make sure this is straight across. Okay, then lift this up. You know how deep this is right here by looking, so just put glue here. Then flip this over and line it up. And that is easy as per a Z fold card. And this could be as wide as you want it, as narrow as you want it. It could be at the top, middle, bottom. It could be, you know, this wide. It could be this big. It doesn't matter. And that is the double Z fold. Pretty easy, huh? So, I did say there was a little more coloring to do. So let's put the back of this card on. I know I said the back somewhere. There it is. Let's go ahead and put the back on. Like I said, I didn't put any sentiment or anything on this because I wanted to leave this, you know, free to use for whatever I wanted. Like that. Okay, I know that this one is going to go right here, but we're going to hold off on him for just a second. Because if I put him here, that water's going to look terrible. So I grabbed my Tahitian Tide pen. You could use blends too. But I just grabbed my marker. You could use ink in a... I'm just going to take in... I'm not doing a fancy job. I'm just leaving it sort of modeled. And that's one of the reasons I use this versus a blender pen. Is I wanted it to be broken like this. Now it will dry a little lighter, but that looks much better that way. So this is going to go on here, and then this guy's going to come back up here. Let me come over a little bit and a little bit with him. I'm trying to make sure. So I'm going to put him on first, and I'm going to put use dimensionals to put it on. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals. I'll look at this one more time. So it's from right about there is where his head is. I'm making sure not to get dimensionals where I don't want them. And I'm going to grab 2 minis, at least one, maybe two. Or you could cut another one down. We'll put those there. Yeah, making this card, the last one, the one we made last week, just makes me want to go to the beach. I want him over this way. Because then I'm going to come back here and we're going to put this guy in. Let's see where he is. He's jumping up out of the water. So his fin is just touching the water like that. And we're going to glue him in. Yeah, it does make me want to go to the beach, but my favorite time to go to the beach is not in the summertime. My favorite time at the beach is like October. Could be because most of the kids are back in school. But no, I prefer the beach in October. Fall is beautiful at the beach. So there's our 2 whales. And then we have our little saying here that we're going to pop up. And we're going to put it on only half of it, right in the center. Make sure I didn't flip that over. I'm going to go with 3. That should be enough. Try to get that as straight as possible. Like that. Make sure nothing's hanging over. So then I looked at the card and thought, oh no, we need some bling. We need some real good bling for this. And I grabbed, if I can find them, I grabbed rhinestones, basic rhinestones, because they look like stars to me. And I started looking at this. I'm gonna grab my, this is the small pokey tool that we used to have. This is your pick your tip tool right here. My hands prefer this one. But use whatever you're comfortable with. So we're gonna put one here, and let's put a medium about here. and another medium one about here, and we'll put a large one about here. I'm putting 5 on this, and another one over about here. There, so you can see all 5 of them. And then I decided it was not shiny enough for me. So it was time for some Wink of Stella. Now one of mine is getting really low. I'm just seeing who's the low. Which one is really low? There we go. And I'm making sure I've got some flowing here before I get started. You could flick it. Oh, I got a glob that dropped. So I'll just pick up some of this. I'm not squeezing anymore. I'm just going to use some of this. Ooh, got a nice glob. If you spill some on the floor, on your project, just pick it up. And you can flick it this way if you want to. I'm checking to see how much I have. I have a lot of sparkle. Let's see if I can get this up. I got a blob on there, hello there, but that's okay. You see all the sparkle in there I've thrown in. So you can spray sparkle, or you can spray sparkle if you want. We used to have the shimmer paints that you could spritz on your project, which I still have. I may break those out come Christmas before I get done with Christmas. But anyhow, that is our card. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I've never actually I've seen killer whales jump. I've just never seen them jump at night. But what I've been told is they do jump at night, and it's quite something to behold. So that's what I represented in this card. So this is the new whale watching set that is coming out in the mini catalog. There is a few other sets that aren't Christmas and really quite beautiful, but this is the one I decided to get. So I will be back on Wednesday, and we are playing with another stamp set. It's a standalone stamp set. It's not a bundle or a suite. And I think you're going to find him rather cute. So I will see you then, and thank you. And please remember to like, share, subscribe. And if you want any product, please go to my online store to purchase it. Except for this, you have to wait till September 6th, unless you want to become a demonstrator, and then send me an email and we'll talk. Thank you and goodbye.